Hey guys, Patriot coming to you with the third installment of my stove series. This will be the third alcohol stove that we cover, and probably the final one. All of the other stoves that I have kind of take a back seat to the three that I've started this series with. This one's a little bit different design. The two previous stoves that I've had here were the Fancy Feast made by Zelf and the Venom Super Stove, also made by Zelf. This one is a homemade version of a stove that I copied called the Solite stove, and I'll put that down in the description for you so that you can go over there and check that out if you want to buy one. This one's a little bit more expensive. These other stoves are about 16, 17 bucks shipped. This one can be purchased online or bought at certain stores. I think Sportsman's Warehouse actually carries these. Anyhow, I borrowed a friend's stove to get the dimensions and figure out how this was made. Ended up making this one myself, so it's an exact carbon copy of the Solite stove, and it works pretty good. It's not perfect. You can see, like here, I think when I pressed in the intersection, it bulged out a little bit more on this side than it did on the other side. This one's pretty straight. This one bulged out a little bit over here, but in any case, it works real good, and when I was done with it, I compared the two stoves, and it seemed to have identical performance to the Solite. By the way, guys, I should probably start mentioning that I do a lot of annotations in my videos in post-production. So sometimes I'll add annotations after I get a whole bunch of questions on a certain or a particular topic. Just like last night, someone asked me what I made for dinner. Well, I had that annotated, so no big deal. I don't mind saying it, but I will say turn on your annotations, as I always put extra information in the video, or very frequently, I should say. Campfire Talk actually asked me if it was difficult to fill up the Venom stove. I can cover that right now. No, not really. Basically what you're doing, you're tilting the stove away from the fuel bottle. That way when the liquid hits this, it runs down along the sides of the pot holder that's built into the stove and directly into the wick. If you hold it like this, yeah, you're going to spill it, but if you turn it like this, the wick pretty much catches everything, and it just filters down, kind of runs along the sides here and goes into the wick. Another thing people want to see is direct comparisons, and I just wanted to point out how difficult that is, and it really requires a lab setup. And because these stoves are homemade, no two are made exactly the same. So if you have two Venom stoves, and this one might have the wick standing up a little bit higher than another stove, that makes a big difference in how the stove works. You might have 20 to 30 parameters on a single stove test, even right down to how the air is circulating in the room, and if it's advantageous for one stove over another. So this little series I'm doing, I'm not directly comparing stoves, I'm just showing you the differences between them and how I use them. Another question I had in recent videos was if I preferred alcohol stoves over gas or over biomass stoves or that sort of thing. No, it really depends. I don't have any preferences in general, but depending on what I'm trying to accomplish, I might favor one over another. So when it comes to these quick day trips where I might just be heating a couple cups of water to make a mountain house and maybe a hot chocolate at night, this is kind of the perfect setup. That's kind of the perfect scenario for these small alcohol stoves, even up to 3 days. You carry either 4 ounces of fuel in this, or a couple of these, or a single 8-ounce bottle. I prefer 2 4-ounce bottles to one 8-ounce bottle, but the simplicity is what's so nice about these. They're quiet, they're clean, they're pretty efficient. They don't have any fuss factor, especially something like this. You dump the fuel on the top, hit it with a lighter, put your pot on top. You'll notice that all of these stoves tonight, all of the stoves that I have in my favorite 3 alcohol stoves, none of them require a pot stand. I have stoves that require a pot stand, including some penny stoves and some mini bowl designs stoves. Those all sit around. I don't like anything that I have to carry a pot stand for. It's just one other piece, and there's something about the simplicity of stoves that don't require a pot stand. Another person asked if these little alcohol stoves were all light-duty stoves. Well, yeah, relatively speaking. I mean, they don't hold a lot of weight. This one will hold a ton of weight, so that's not an issue. But these two are a little bit lighter. But you can, heat up plenty of water. In fact, let's go ahead and take this 32-ounce clean canteen. I'm going to light up the Fancy Feast, and we'll heat this entire volume of water. Should only take about an ounce of fuel. Nice little fuel container are these energy shots. After you drink one, you can dump the fuel in here. This one holds close to 2 ounces. We'll just put that in there. Okay, we'll let that heat up, and I'll have a hot chocolate later. Let's go ahead and weigh this one in. This is 1.4 ounces, or 41 grams. Typically, to light this, all you need to do is put your desired amount of fuel in here and light the top, and it will boil. The difference between this one and the other two stoves is that this one does create a slight pressure chamber. So you feel the fuel goes in here. Once it ignites, it will heat the fuel up. The fuel will heat up, and I think it's about 145 degrees. The fuel vaporizes, and it will actually, the vapors will come up and pressurize between the outer wall and the inner wall right here. And you'll see this bloom just like a stovetop or a gas stovetop would. Alright, let's go ahead and fill this up. This will hold about 2.5 ounces. Let's put in about that much, about an ounce. Alright, we've got our stove filled with fuel. Let's go ahead and set it down and light it up. Alright guys, I've got that stove lit. It's warming up. As soon as it warms up, it will pressurize. When it pressurizes, you'll see the fuel vapors start coming out the gas jets along the side. I've got a catalyst, a little pot. This will hold about just over 3 cups of water. Alright, we got a good bloom there. And not sure if you can see the fuel boiling inside, but that thing makes a lot of heat. Alright guys, you may have already guessed that the big advantage to this stove is just the amount of overall heat that it puts out. Puts out a lot of BTUs, and it will work with larger pots, pans, skillets, that type of thing. That is much more suited. This is a much more stable stove than the others because it's just wider. The flame pattern is also much wider, and so we're going to use the kettle tonight. I've only got 2 cups of water in there. Get my timer going here. There we go. I'll have to be careful not to get the phone too close to that one because it does throw off a lot more heat. It uses fuel more quickly, and it works great for these wider pots and pans. There's a little stainless pan you can see here that was not used with alcohol. That is a wood stove doing that. One of the nice things about alcohol stoves is that they do burn a lot cleaner. Okay, remember, we're not comparing the speed at which this water is heating up because it's not a fair contest. This aluminum kettle has a lot more thermal capacity than the small mugs, the little stainless mug and the aluminum mug that we were using with the other stoves. So the advantage of this stove is that you can use larger pots with more capacity, and it will heat up that volume of water faster. up on 4 minutes here. Let's take a peek, and looks like we've got a pretty good boil here. Creeping up on 208. There we go. Just went to full boil. 209 is boiling on this thermometer, and that was about 4 minutes and 25 seconds. So pretty fast there. Even though that pot has a bit more thermal capacity, the wider bottom can take advantage of that larger flame. Okay, we'll go ahead and put the pot on there. The secret to extinguishing this is leaving the pot on, giving it one good hard blow here. We'll let that cool for just a second. There's not much fuel in here, but you can see I can just let that run down the side of the stove. We just tilt it and it will run out the holes. And we can collect that fuel again. Looks like the fancy feast is just about at a boil over here. Let's go ahead and take a temperature reading. Pretty close to 190, so way hotter than I typically drink it, and it's still burning, and that's off of 1 ounce of fuel. It's basically boiling at this point. Well guys, there you have it. That's the 3 alcohol stoves that I use the very most. I've got other designs from mini bowl and homemades and little soda pop stoves that friends have made for me, that kind of thing. And despite all the other stoves, these 3 are the alcohol stoves that get used over and over and over again. So I find alcohol super convenient. The reliability is off the charts. I've never had a stove go bad. If you're careful not to crush them, you shouldn't have a problem. But they're very clean, they're efficient, and they're silent in use, which is sometimes kind of peaceful and nice. So definitely my most used stoves of all the different ones. When I get down into colder temperatures or larger groups, that's when gas stoves or butane is nice, and we'll cover those next. So thanks for taking the time to watch the series with me. Patriot out.